Okay, question 9, last question in the differentiation test, and it's parametric equations, and we've got to differentiate them. So we need to find dy by dx, but that is the same as doing dy by dt times by dx, sorry, dt by dx, which is just the chain rule. Often people prefer to write this like this because this is just 1 over it's the reciprocal of dx by dt. So anyway, we need to find dy by dt, we need to find dx by dt, and then we need to divide them. So let's start with dx. Let's try to find dx by dt. So x equals to cot t. To differentiate this, this is in the formula book, the derivative of cot. The derivative of cot is minus cosec squared. So this is minus 2 cosec squared t. And it might be helpful. I mean, you can see where we need to end up. There's no cosecs in the answer, so it might be an idea just to write that as minus 2 sine squared t. So that's dx by dt. We now need to find dy by dt. So y is 2 sine squared t. Now you could probably use the product rule, but I'm a big fan of the chain rule, so I'd probably just think about writing it like this, and then use the chain rule with the substitution u equals sine t. So du by dt is cos t. Y equals 2u squared. So dy by du is 4u, and dy by dx is this times this, which is going to give us 4 sine t cos t. Okay, so now we know that dx by dt is this. Oh, I made a mistake there, sorry. This is dy by dt, not dy by dx. Sorry about that. So then we need to divide these two now. Okay, so this is going to go here, this is going to go up here, and let's work out what that gives us. So dy by dt is 4 sine t cos t. Divide that by minus 2 over sine squared t. Is the same as multiplying by 1 over that. So just move this out of the way. This is the same. This is the same as 4 sine t cos t all over minus 2 times by sine squared t. And you can see already that this is going to give us the right answer, because the 2's are going to, the 4 divided by minus 2 is going to give us the minus 2 we want over here. And then we're going to get sine cube t cos t, which is the answer we wanted to end up with. On B, we've got to go from the parametric equations to the Cartesian equation. In other words, we need to get rid of t and just have an equation with y's and x's in it, and then we need to get y on its own. So it's not immediately obvious how to do this. It's difficult to get difficult to get t on its own in either of these. So what's a good idea is often to think about using a trig identity. So I would suggest trying to think of a way of connecting. Tries to think of a way of connecting cot and sine squared. Now it's certainly not obvious how to connect cot and sine squared, but what might be helpful is that to use the fact that 1 plus cot squared would equal cosec squared. Okay, so that might help us out because cosec squared is 1 over sine squared, so that would connect these two equations together. So to use that, what we probably need to do first is to square this equation. So we get cot squared t, and now we can replace that cot squared t with cosec squared t minus 1. So that's useful because now we're going to get a sine squared t, which is what we've got over here. So this is 4 cosec squared t minus 4, which is the same as 4 over sine squared t minus 4. So now we know that excuse me, we know that sine squared t equals y over 2. Remember, the whole point of this question is to try to get rid of t somehow, try to eliminate t from this equation, and we can do that by substituting y over 2 in here, and then we will have a Cartesian equation. Okay, so let's do that then. So x squared equals 4 over y over 2 minus 4. Now that is it. We've got a Cartesian equation now. Just doesn't look very nice at the moment, and also y isn't the subject. So let's just tidy this up a bit. So x squared will, if we just sort out this fraction, dividing by y over 2 is the same as multiplying by 2 over y. So this is the same as 8 over y minus 4. Okay, I'll just move over to here. So x squared equals 8 over y minus 4, and so x squared plus 4 equals 8 over y, and then we can just cross multiply here, multiply both sides by y, divide both sides by x squared plus 4, and we will get y equals 8 over x squared plus 4, which is the final answer.